Ayan, mabuhay sa inyo lahat. It is so scary outside. There's so many cases of COVID right now. So instead of going out recording this week, I've decided to make a few more of these reaction videos, which are seemingly very popular. And what I'm looking at today is how the Philippine National Railways was built and created. And maybe it also includes a little bit about the future of the Philippine National Railways. So let's jump straight in to this video and see what's new.
Back in the olden days, the Philippine National Railways was said to be an incredible engineering masterpiece in the country, and people expected that it would continue to be a star project amongst other infrastructures. However, after being more than 100 years old, significant progress hasn't really been seen for decades.
That's true, no? Nothing is really happening. I mean, it's, how many lines are there actually?
But as of recent times, things are starting to change.
Tutuban Station.
But before we go there, we first need to go back to June 26, 1875, the time when King Alfonso XIII of Spain emitted a royal decree, which established that the Inspector of Public Works of the Philippine Islands, Don Eduardo Lopez Navarro, was required to submit a general plan for the establishment of a railroad line in the island of Luzon. It took him 5 whole months of studying, planning, and plotting, until he came up with the Memoria sobre el Plan General de Ferrocarriles en la Isla de Luzon.
So it's mostly
it was the strategy that had created the country's first ever railway system. Eventually, the concession for the construction of the railroad was awarded to Don Edmundo Sykes.
Wait guys, you see this locomotive here? That is an old steam-powered locomotive. More than 20 years ago, I saw some of these steam engine locomotives at the Tutuban station. You know where the Tutuban Mall is, diba? Dun sa likod, no? There's still a little part of the station, and I think that's the head office of PNR. And there was actually some of those locomotives right there in front of it. Because of course, Tutuban Shopping Center used to be Tutuban Railroad Station.
And later became known as the Manila Railroad Company. In the following stages, engineers and inspectors would lay down the groundwork for establishing the railway. It was approximately around 200 kilometers worth of track lines.
That's it?
And eventually, decades go by, further expansion was swift, finally reaching the southern region of Luzon, where more than 1,000 kilometers of line was constructed. However, as age...
1,000 kilometers? In such a big country, that's not really a lot.
Passed by, the expansions has been moving relatively slow. There was even a time when over 20 years went by, and things had been at a sluggish pace. Only until recently, though, when several lawmakers across the country filed a number of bills for the modernization and reconstruction of the PNR. These operations are known to be as the railway system.
Well, that's true, no? Because in the last few decades, we haven't really seen any improvements. And think about how big the Philippines is. 1,000 kilometers is really not much. If you look at other countries in Asia like Thailand, Malaysia, we got Vietnam, of course, Laos, no, Burma. They have thousands and thousands of kilometers of railroad tracks. And it's a very important part of their public transportation system. Look at India. I mean, without the railroads, nothing would work. So how come in the Philippines, railroad has never been that important? I don't understand that. That's kind of strange to me.
Running from New Clark City all the way over to Metro Manila, the North-South Commuter Line, the rehabilitation of the South Commuter Lines, and the soon-to-be long-haul service line. This whole framework of this modernization plan is expected to be around 4,000 kilometers of rail track.
That's better.
Quite an ambitious project indeed.
Yeah, 4,000 kilometers. Now that's much, much better. But think about it. This is really strange because it was in 1840s or something that railroad tracks were laid down in England and most of Europe, although they were kind of small that time. But you know, they've been doing it for like almost 200 years now. So it's really mind-boggling. Bakit wala dito sa Philippines, or bakit konti-konti lang? Dapat we should really use the transportation opportunities of the railroads. It's also good for transportation of cargo, and instead of all the buses, we have accidents and stuff like this. It's much more convenient to use railroads.
On top of all these, a newly proposed project that would be way over to the southern islands of the Philippines, called the Mindanao Railway, was introduced. It was a system that would span over 2,000 kilometers, and it would go around the whole region and connect the major cities. This will involve the creation of the MRC, also known as the Mindanao Railways Corporation, where it would be the one responsible to establish, operate, develop, and maintain the railway transportation in the area. The first phase for this is expected to start in the year 2021 and cost over 36 billion pesos.
So it's supposed to start last year, and 36 billion pesos, well, it's not really that much, I mean, for such an ambitious project. So I think this is very reasonable. I think it's long overdue. We should have done this a long time ago. And I know there's a lot of things happening right now, not just with the railroad, but also with the MRT, the LRT. It's really expanding, and I think this is much better. So we can avoid having all the jeeps, dami uso, baho, that was very bad for our health as well. So I think this is great, you know. We need to get rid of the cars, we need to stop all the buses, the jeepneys, the tricycles. We need to get into a public transportation system like we use in Europe. Much better.
This is a big thing for the growth of the national railway industry in the Philippines, which seeks to create a proper national railway system. The NRI encompasses the islands of Visayas, Mindanao, Luzon, and the metropolitan areas in the Philippines. They also seek to consolidate all existing rail offices and agencies. And besides this, other railway systems have been proposed, such as those by Bill HB 2027. It was filed proposing to establish a railway system that will be used to connect both La Union and Ilocos Norte.
Oh, that's a good idea.
On the other hand, another bill known as the HB 1911 sought to create a Central Luzon Railways Corporation, which would serve as expected as the railroad and transportation policy for Central Luzon. The state of the Philippine railway system is far from what it could be. There's a consistent effort from the government to improve the system, and after all, the railway operation is a big part of the country's transit system. Knowing that this is vital to the economy, it's essential that the railway system is improved in the coming years. Without a doubt, the golden age of the PNR, after all was said and done, was the period of 1954 to 1960.
Wow, so that was the golden age of the PNR, 1954 to 1960? Oh my goodness, that's a long time ago, and even that was late when you compare to other countries in the region, no? Actually, in Denmark, we have so many trains. It's unbelievable. We are so connected using railroads. Basically, in Denmark, you do not need to have a car. I say either you use bicycles around the city, and if you want to go to another city, you simply just take the train. We also do have something similar to MRT. I'll show you a couple of clips right after this, so you can see how modern it is there. It's really convenient, it's very nice, and when you arrive by train, you actually always arrive right downtown. So from there, you can easily get other public transports like MRTs, LRTs, or buses. So it makes it very convenient, and I think it's long overdue. We need this in the Philippines right now.
With the Manila Railroad Company succeeding massively, even receiving the Business Firm of the Year award from the Business Writers Association of the Philippines, things were going great for it. Congress passed laws to fund the extension lines and improve them, with plans to extend the Southern Line to also include Sorsogon, and also the lines from Nueva Ecija to the Cagayan. Congress also set money apart to provide improvement and support to the lines from Bulacan, Cabanatuan City, and Plaridel. Regarding its current state, the Philippine National Railways is experiencing a massive rework and modernization project after receiving enough funding and assistance from the JICA, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, to cover the development of existing branch lines, roughly 653 kilometers in total, and also a 38-kilometer commuter train that leads from Tutuban to Malolos.
Okay, so that's great. There's a lot of international cooperation happening here because, you know, in Japan as well, I mean, you can go anywhere by train. Of course, you got Shinkansen, the fastest train on earth, right? And we got the maglev trains in Germany, France. Of course, in China, they have high-speed trains going all the way to Tibet. You know, it's amazing what they have in other countries. China, Japan. I remember when I was living in Japan, you know, I could easily go anywhere in the country using trains. Very convenient. Before the lockdown, I used a train in China. I was actually on a train for 9 hours, just going within the same province. I was just in Guangdong. I went from Shenzhen to the coastal cities, no? And 9 hours in the train, huh? That was a really long time. The good thing is, of course, like in Europe and in Japan, you know, they got people selling things inside the train, so it's very convenient, it's very easy, you know. And of course, it's much better for road safety because you don't really have accidents with trains, or very rarely. It's one of the safest transport systems in the world, trains. Okay, and we got Japan and other countries helping out here, so this is a very safe project.
Doesn't that sound amazing? Among the main benefits of rail transport over road transportation, we can mention the proven efficiency and also reliability of rail freight and its quick options that provide access to capacity.
So you see, if you use it as a cargo train as well, not just focus on the passengers, but also on the cargo, meaning to say we don't need all the ships going all around the Philippines. We also don't need all the trucks, and they are also bad for the environment. Instead, we simply put everything on the trains and ship it nationwide using trains. Okay, so of course there will be something from if the distance from one island to another island is too big, but then we got ferries, because in Denmark we also do this, and that also happens in other countries. The train can go straight onto the ferry, and then it arrives on the other island and it just continues its journey. So that's a very proven method. It makes everything much better. So guys, please remember, this is not only for passengers, it's also for cargo. I hope that whoever is making these projects remember this. It's got to be as much for cargo as it is for the people.
On top of a more environmentally friendly shipping process via train. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the intriguing history of the Philippine National Railways and its future of expansion? Let us know in the comments. Also, make sure to leave us a like. Follow us for more amazing videos. Thanks for watching.
Thank you too. So guys, honestly, I think it's great. I think it's long overdue, as I said before. We need the transportation system to include trains all over the Philippines, from inter-island and all over Luzon, all over Mindanao. We need this. It's important. In Mindanao, they can use it to transport all the vegetables, the food supplies that I keep hearing having a trouble getting to international market, and they also having a trouble sending the fruits and the vegetables, the food manufactured in Mindanao to Luzon. Using a transportation system of trains as cargo, it would be so much easier. And now I'm going to show you the clips from Denmark so you can see how it looked just before the lockdown. I went there. This is kind of the LRT, MRT system of Denmark. The trains look slightly different, but they're very efficient. So this is first the LRT, MRTs from Denmark. And again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a comment below and tell me what you think about the train systems here in the Philippines right now, and what do you think the future of train systems will be in the Philippines. All right, so I'll see you next time, guys. Oh, the train is coming. Jo, det er nødt til, mand. Vi er nødt til at se, hvordan det ser ud. Hvorfor åbner den ikke? Nå, og så må vi skynde os lidt. Hvordan det ser ud, ikke? Øj, det er helt Nå ja. Så får lov at betale. For fanden. Ja, det går sgu ikke. Okay. Nej, nu glemte jeg at se, hvordan de gør det med kamera. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to click that subscribe button and of course the bell button so you'll be notified when we have new videos for you.